Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato, and today we're going to be reading a couple articles on really how America is declining and it's lost the competency it used to have in various technologies. And so the first article we're going to be reading and providing commentary on is an NBC News article on how the F-35s, which are supposed to be these super great fighter jets, are only mission capable 55% of the time, this new report says. And so we see here, days after a $100 million F-35B crash in rural South Carolina, a government watchdog report released Thursday highlights ongoing maintenance delays, showing F-35 jets are mission capable only 55% of the time. If the aircraft can only perform 55% of the time and the goal is 85 to 90% of the time, taxpayers are not getting their money's worth. And so that's completely true. So that's a pretty big gap. It's not like a 1 or 2 percentage point gap, but we're seeing a 30-35% gap between how frequently it's supposed to be mission capable and how frequently it actually is mission capable. And we're just seeing this decline across the board. And you're probably noticing this in your everyday life as well, where the quality of goods and services across the United States, if you're in the United States, has been declining. I left the United States early in this year, 2023, and it was immediately obvious to me that United States over time has declined, not only while I was in the United States, but also my flight over to the Philippines. United States Airlines were just not as good as they were a few years ago when I was going to national conferences for my field to present research. And so we see this decline in our day-to-day lives. We see that products are not as good, services are not as good, people are just lethargic, they don't want to do their job, they're slacking off, you can't get a hold of anyone if there's a problem, et cetera, et cetera. And the same is occurring in our military and with military technology. So the F-35 program costs $1.7 trillion over its lifespan, okay. Much of the program's expenses, 1.3, is the cost of maintaining and operating the fighter jets. Okay. This comes down to Lockheed Martin and its subcontractors for the F-35. Maintenance on components is behind, leaving more than 10,000 components in the queue waiting to be repaired. Wow, that's a huge deficit. And so countries like Russia have more engineers, more people potentially capable of these repair type work. And the United States just can't find qualified people to actually do the work in these various fields because not only is the quality of people's work declining, but the quality of our education system in order to train more people to potentially take on these jobs is declining as well. And I can say this as someone who is a former academic. Okay, so there's been various recommendations that have been made that hopefully will solve this problem. But right now, the United States military is just not doing a good job in terms of its military readiness for a conflict. And so this should concern you because the United States has boots on the ground everywhere. They're supplying a ton of funding to countries like Ukraine, countries like Israel, and they're doing all of this while things that could actually be helpful, such as having fighter jets that can defend the homeland, it's not being worked on or it's not being given the correct amount of money in order to actually be successful in order to defend the homeland. And so Americans have to be wondering, why are their tax dollars going to helping foreign wars instead of helping for things that actually matter, such as having fighter jets that could defend America or defend the border, which has been an increasing concern. So here we have another article, and I have a summary that I have had created on this article on $20 billion failure exposes the grim future of the United States. And so this is on things like hypersonic missiles. And so this summary is going to go over that. So Western countries are facing a concerning reality where they not only lack the industrial capacity required for modern warfare, but are also losing the expertise needed for certain low-tech manufacturing. This alarming situation is highlighted in a report by the Wall Street Journal, which discusses the challenges in the $20.7 billion program to procure new polar icebreaker ships for the U.S. Coast Guard intended to protect American interests in the Arctic. Okay, so this is something that we were able to do before. We were able to create icebreakers. But watch. The U.S. Coast Guard currently has only 2 heavy icebreakers okay? And one of them has reached the end of its operational life. We're seeing that a lot. The United States, its infrastructure has really reached the end of its operational life in a lot of ways. Furthermore, the U.S. has not launched a new icebreaker since 1976. That's ridiculous. That's wild. The report reveals the delivery of the first new icebreaker has been delayed from 2024 to 2028, so a 4-year delay. So they're only going to have one icebreaker in service if the other one is not able to maintain operation past its operational life expectancy. And the reason for this 4-year delay is because the country's designers, engineers, and welders are grappling with the lost knowledge of sharpening hardened steel over an inch thick into a curved reinforced ship's hull. So what they're saying here is that it's been over 50 years. Well, no, it's been almost 50 years since they've created icebreakers like this before. And the United States does not have the designers, the engineers, and welders capable of doing this. So they're saying it's going to be done by 2028, but it's anyone's guess if they actually are going to be able to create this knowledge again, if they're going to be able to figure out how to do this again. The United States is not able to send things into space anymore. They're not able to build icebreakers. They're not able to repair its own technology, its own infrastructure. I mean, this is just embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. So in contrast, Russia has at least 36 icebreakers suitable for the Arctic, while China possesses 4. So the United States has 2, and 1 is not going to be operational soon. And both Russia and China have more than us. And you might be saying, well, the United States isn't technically in the Arctic. Well, I mean, Alaska's close enough to needing icebreakers. And China also is not in the Arctic as well. And so they have more icebreakers than the United States as well. So there's not really an excuse there. And it seems like our competitors have this type of capability, but the United States does not. And I don't see very many other countries that might even have this technology. I mean, maybe a Finland or a Sweden might be capable of it, but it's anyone's guess. They might have been reliant on the United States there. This loss of expertise and industrial capacity presents a serious challenge to Western countries, especially as tensions rise with China and Russia. The lack of basic manufacturing capabilities, such as shipbuilding, has significant implications for defense industries. To address this issue, experts suggest bringing back retired workers to educate the new generation. It's anyone's guess if the retired workers even remember it at this point. It's been nearly 50 years. The problem extends beyond shipbuilding, as the recent conflict in Ukraine demonstrates. European and American factories struggle to supply artillery shells at the same rate they are used, revealing the shortage of industrial capacity. Modern warfare consumes platforms and systems rapidly, and the West needs to reevaluate its ability to manufacture essential munitions quickly. Yeah, so the United States is already having to make a decision between Israel and Ukraine, and they're choosing Israel, obviously, because of Zionist donor funding. But the thing is, what happens if there's a Ukraine crisis and an Israel crisis, and then Taiwan heats up and the United States gets directly involved? Well, the United States just does not have the manufacturing capacity to actually handle that, but it's definitely going to get involved. So just ridiculous how incompetent the United States is at this point. So we go on, as geopolitical tensions escalate, particularly between the U.S. and China, maintaining industrial capacity becomes crucial. The United States is not able to maintain that. The ability to produce munitions on large scale in times of conflict is paramount. The United States has lost that, and they have pretty much no chance of getting that back. Furthermore, adopting fourth industrial revolution technologies such as additive manufacturing and computer simulations can help bolster industrial capabilities and agility. The loss of manufacturing expertise and outsourcing of key industries are challenges that Western countries must confront. So this is something where the United States has been willing to do this. They've been willing to outsource key industries if it makes them a better profit. And guess what? Now they can't get that back because China's picked it all up. They've gobbled it all up. They have a long-term vision for how to do things. The globalized approach has created vulnerabilities, especially evident during the crises like the COVID-19 pandemic. I remember when the United States couldn't manufacture enough masks, they couldn't manufacture enough Q-tips. The United States just failed at the pandemic at every level. I mean, certainly at the manufacturing level. Some countries have retained their industrial bases, while others have outsourced them. The complexity and cost of modern military systems, along with design and construction delays, adds to the challenge. In summary, the loss of manufacturing expertise coupled with the outsourced outsourcing of critical industries poses a significant threat to Western nations. To address these challenges, it is imperative to reestablish industrial capacity, educate the new generation, and adopt advanced manufacturing technologies. As geopolitical tensions rise, the ability to produce essential munitions and maintain industrial capacity is vital for national security. So I don't know how they're going to do any of this, okay? The United States education system is declining. I was actually just talking to a friend about this yesterday, where we talk about this all the time. I think we were in a pretty competent college with good graduate programs. He was in material science, engineering types of programs, and I was in an industrial and organizational psychology program. And we came to recognize that the American education system is just in terminal decline at this point, where I was talking to him about how typically after a pandemic, because there's not like lockdowns and social distancing and stuff like that anymore, people would go back into education. If there was a dip in education during a pandemic, they would go back into education after the pandemic. We've not seen them go back. Okay. In terms of, what was it? In terms of a recession, which the United States has kind of been in a recession for a while now, it's like a low-grade recession where it's just like, eggs are twice as much. Olive oil is twice as much. You can't afford to live. You can't afford a house. You can't afford to eat. And typically when things like that occur, people are like, uh-oh, I need to upskill. I need to improve my skill set in order to make more money in order to survive. And so they would go to college. They would get a better education. We're not seeing that, okay? So the numbers of people in college has been declining for over a decade now, and it's continued to decline every single year within the past, I think it was 2019 to 2023. Okay. So our education system, there's not enough people willing to go through it. On top of that, we have a fertility crisis where there's just not enough people in general within the age bracket that typically goes to higher education. You say adopt advanced manufacturing technologies here, but how can they do that when no one's making anything anymore? America's just not an innovative nation. They're a nation of accountants. They're a nation of financial analysts who know how to move a dot on a piece of paper in order to give the United States an extra order of magnitude of money. I mean, that's all the United States is at this point. It prints money, and that's what it's good for. And the thing is, the rest of the world would actually allow the United States to continue doing that if the United States was trustworthy, but people can't trust the United States with money anymore, so that financial accounting magic just doesn't work anymore. The United States is going to the currency used by other countries in the world is going to change from the US dollar. So a variety of problems here, no real solution to them at this point for the United States, because the United States has given up all of its advantages, and they've done this willingly in order to benefit themselves in the short term, which is the baby boomer generation outsourced everything, including their own ability to create the technologies needed to reinvigorate the country. So just, I could go on and on about this forever, but the gist of the matter is, as all my videos are, it's the United States is declining, the unipolar world is declining. Get over it if you believe in it. Sucks to suck. The multipolar world is coming, and there's nothing you could do aside from a nuclear war to stop it. Please do not conduct a nuclear war. I would appreciate it. But yeah, the multipolar world, another video of, I mean, if you're in the United States, this probably is not a good video, and really none of my videos are optimistic about the United States. But if you're in the rest of the world, these are very optimistic videos because the multipolar world is winning across every front and really has been winning since the start of the pandemic, I would say, where it was really a turning point where the United States just faced terminal decline, and China and Russia, to a certain extent, have faced terminal ascendancy. So that's what I'll leave you with. If you found this video to be informative, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube and Rumble. It helps us in the algorithm. Please subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Rumble. We are being suppressed. In fact, I would encourage you to show our channel to other channels, show our channel to other people. We would love to collaborate with others. We have some collaborations planned. I just want to get caught up on some things before I go out of my way to start doing collaborations. But I would, if someone came to me with collaboration ideas, I would absolutely go for them. We have a ton of various innovations, a ton of ways of improving things in the pipeline. I'm figuring out different ways right now. Like my latest project is figuring out how to rank various articles. Like, do I want to go over this? How do I group different articles to go over them at the same time? Things like that. But we have various innovations in the pipeline, always trying new things. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, anything you want to tell me, please leave that in the comment box below. We do appreciate it. We do read all of it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.